Hey everyone, welcome to another segment of Talk Shop. Joining me today is Jessie Butler. And before I bring on Jessie, I just want to let people know what is the Talk Shop interview series all about? Well, it's a part of the Talk Shop program. It's a nice complement to the two programs that Talk Shop delivers live. But this is bringing in industry insiders to share their insight with you, the college students. So if you'd like to learn more information about Talk Shop or what we do here, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. The information will be on your screen. So all that being said, I'd like to introduce Jessie Butler. Jessie, I'm going to do my best with my research team of one, me. You are currently the Director of Communications and External Relations for the Tucson Airport Authority. How are we doing so far?
That is correct.
That's a good job. Right. We're on the right track. Tell all of us, what is it, in terms of day-to-day that you do in your job with the Tucson Airport Authority? And by the way, Tucson is in Arizona, just in case there might be another Tucson somewhere else out there.
Yes. So I absolutely love my job. I love the organization I work for. It's an airport, right? It's a little different because we're an airport authority versus an airport run by a city or county or, something of that sort. So every day is honestly really different. No one day is the same, which is, for a communications person like myself is always exciting. But really what our department is, and we're made up of 5 people, is community relations, marketing, air service development, and communications. And so within that umbrella, my main focus is really the communication piece. Everything from external and internal falls under myself and another individual. And so social media, press releases, media inquiries, customer service, complaints or inquiries on that end, air service celebrations, marketing of that sort, pretty much everything you can kind of think of some way or another, it falls in our department. If there's a project on the runway, we have to know so we can let, our passengers know if there's going to be any disruptions. So we're kind of everywhere when it comes to the airport authority.
Got it. And I'm assuming, but don't want to, that's why I'm going to ask the question. A lot of that obviously is through print and through the written communication mode. But I'm also going to assume, but we'll ask to clarify, a lot of that is going to have to be delivered face to face, whether you're being interviewed yourself or whether you're directly communicating the initiatives to your staff, to your team. Is that a fair assumption that there still is a good deal of face to face communication that happens in your role there?
Definitely internally, for sure. And pre-COVID, externally, that was a big push. We have a new president and CEO who she's very external facing and wants to be out in the community talking to people. So, when I started this position almost a year ago, it was a promotion within the company. I was really pushed out forward facing. And that was something I was not necessarily used to. But I think it's been great. It is a lot of communicating with people, and I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of great mentors to help with that. And you have to have a comfort level when it comes to getting out of your little circle and talking to people you don't know, and maybe even talking about things you're not necessarily comfortable with as well.
Couple of things that I just heard and I want to pick up on it. Number one, you said, look, you've been very fortunate to have a couple of mentors. And that's such a great piece to have in your inner circle. But sometimes people just don't realize, well, how do I go and get a mentor? How did you go about finding someone that mentored you?
Yeah, well, I was very fortunate. In undergrad, I went to University of Arizona, which is where you and I actually connected through SMA, Sports Management Association. I really utilized the different student organizations. The biggest one for me personally was the University of Arizona Alumni Association. I got started with them. They had a student group of, it was maybe 50 to 100 kids. And by my senior year, we were at 300 to 400 kids. And it was just an awesome opportunity to meet with alumni in your field. And there's many of them that I still talk to this day. And it's weird to believe that I started college 10 years ago now. So, a lot of them I still communicate with, I talk to. That was really the basis of that. And through undergrad, I was also able to, pick up on jobs, worked within the athletic department, had really wonderful mentors there, also worked part-time outside of the university and still talk to, my former boss there. So I think it's just opening yourself up and being willing to listen and learn.
I love that. There's a lot there, and I'm just going to sit here and say, yes, I agree on all of that, because that's a big piece of what, Talk Shop's all about is how do you network? How do you brand yourself? How do you communicate who you are? How do you articulate that with, positivity, with clarity, with confidence? But finding mentors is one key area. And you just laid out, there's a bunch of different areas that one can go out and get a mentor, someone that can, be in your corner. Now, there's also another piece, someone that can be your influencer. Anyone that you've met along the way that's actually, or that you've networked, whether it's on LinkedIn or at a social gathering, through college or after college, that's someone that can, create some influence for you. I mean, what I mean by that is, hey, Jesse, you know what? If you wouldn't mind, send me an email. I'd love to hear what you can do. I've got some people that I can push that to that would take action on you. Does that make sense? And if so, how did you attract and get around people that could take or make an influence on your part?
Yeah, the one person I can think of, and I'm going to make him watch this, is John Ivanoff. He was our former chief of police, chief of public safety. And towards the end of his tenure before he retired, he was our acting vice president of operations and COO. And so I called him my work dad, because we developed such a great working relationship. I mean, he always came to me, I always went to him, and we just bounced ideas off of each other. And it was really one of the best relationships that I think I have with someone, who's not just an influencer, but also, a mentor. And so it's definitely both sides. I mean, right now he's working over, with some really great projects with a consulting business that he started. And to this day, he calls me and we have these conversations and he says, "Are you interested in this?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, I'm happy where I am." But, I love that he thinks of me, and when there's good opportunities coming up, he still speaks on my behalf. So I appreciate that.
I love that you're going to make him watch this, and I'm thankful that I did not create any havoc where I would be on his radar from somewhere in the past, the times that I've been to Tucson. So thankfully, I hear police chief. Ooh, hopefully I didn't create any issues there. No, I think that's great stuff. Let me just change gears for a minute, Jesse. When you were networking and creating some awareness of who you are and your skill set prior to landing the job that you've been in, and I'm sorry, you've been in this job, I'm looking at my notes, for almost coming up, what, maybe a little over 5 years now?
So I'm coming up on 5 years with the airport and a
Okay.
year in my current position.
So how was it, or what did you do that helped differentiate yourself when it came time? Maybe it was a networking opportunity, or maybe you had an informational interview. I don't think you interned there because it led to a full-time
Yeah.
job right away. What can you share that you did in either of those steps that helped your cause, obviously, to get the job?
Yeah. When you ask that question, the first thing that comes to mind is how much research I did about the airport ahead of time. I was finishing up my master's degree at the University of Tennessee. I knew I wanted to get back to Tucson and do not necessarily athletics, but I wanted to stay in a communications field. And so this opportunity with the airport was there, and I thought, wow, this looks really cool, but I have no idea of anything airport related aside from flying myself. So I did tons of research, looked up the president and CEO at the time, did some research on the HR director at the time, who my boss would be, and I really think that made an impact when we were in the interview process. I did an initial interview, and it's all great. You talk about what you could bring to the company, what you've done, but I think being able to really utilize the information that you research on a company and that the product, their audience, what they're really asking of you, I think that made a difference.
Again, not going to say anything. I'm just going to nod in agreement for those that are listening and watching. Good stuff and good insight. Doing a little research on the front end, having a little something planned out. How about some preparedness? But when it comes time to actually share and articulate who you are, is there anything you've done, whether it's the written piece, a special letter, an email, if you will, or something you did face to face that helped your cause? Maybe there was something you did that was just a tad, as they say, out of the box, a little creative thinking, or did you just let your own genuine personality at that time just be yourself? What helped you, do you think, in that realm?
I think it was just being myself. I think they could tell how excited I was about the opportunity, and I knew I was excited. So I think just really being yourself, not being fake. I mean, a lot of times you can tell if someone's being a little fake or over exaggerating. So I think that is a good piece of advice that I've actually been given multiple times, in different phases of my life is just be genuine. So I definitely preach that.
Now, look, you mentioned earlier, and I picked up on it. I think you said it's 10 years that you've been in your career, and I'm not even going to make a mention of what that means to me. You said it's been 10 years since I graduated college. I'm not going to touch that. But anyway, what I am going to say, though, is what kind of tips, guidance, techniques could you share? Let's say you're going back to your alma mater at University of Arizona, and or in other cases, you've got people reaching out to you to connect with you for informational meetings or an internship possibility with the authority there that you're in. It's a different dynamic, even though it's just been 10 quick years. But look, technology's taken over, and I believe there's a little apprehension around today's college students meeting with someone face to face. What kind of guidance would you give today's college students as it relates to them wanting to connect with you?
I still do this, and I'm in my career. When I first got into this position, I reached out to other people in our community who had similar positions, who had been there. And it helped immensely. So my number one thing is don't be scared. Just send an email or make a phone call or find a connection, right? LinkedIn is great because you can see who's connected with one another and say, hey, can you introduce me to this person? Or if you know someone at a company and know that someone there, has the job you would like one day, or you'd like to just get some insight, reach out and just try to initiate those conversations, I think is one of the biggest things. And I promise you won't regret it once you do, because every time somebody comes to me and wants advice or wants to talk about careers or get coffee, I love it. And I think it's a great opportunity to learn, even if it's just a conversation and you never talk to them again. You just learn something. And then you never know, they might turn into, your future mentor or be able to help you down the line when it comes to relationships or jobs, or you never know. I always say you make friends with everyone, and you try to be as respectful as you can to anyone you meet, and don't be scared to develop the relationships. I was super shy in college and didn't want to be the first one to initiate anything. And I totally understand that. I mean, it's scary right now for college students, especially with COVID and where the job dynamic is. But look, we have technology, right? You can do WebEx and Zoom meetings over coffee. And so I say absolutely reach out to people that you think would be a good mentor, you want to learn more about. And I think more than likely they'll make the time to talk to you.
I want to pick up on just one thing that you mentioned there is develop the relationship. And I think that's a great piece. I just wanted to tag onto it, maybe see if you agree or not. I think you do, since it's your point. But people can connect with people on LinkedIn, especially if you're a college student. Great time to start building your connections, but also nurture them, or in your word, develop them. Don't just connect. And if someone gives you a tip or two, let them know a month or two later saying, hey, just want to let you know, stay in touch. I've utilized that little tip you gave me. Stay in touch, develop that relationship. So I know that's what you were probably saying. And I think that's a great piece. Is there anything that, and I'm not sure what level of internships or entry-level jobs that the Airport Authority has, but let's just say there are, and people have come in to meet with you pre-COVID or even current, and it's something that they did, that applicant or that candidate did that just caught your attention. It could have been something they did creatively, could have been something in terms of the way they handle themselves with their composure. Anything that you can share that will give some help of maybe what to do or what not to do. And it's okay if that's the case also.
Yeah, I think for me, we just actually hired on someone to our department. The big thing is, nowadays companies and jobs, especially in communications, you're getting, 50 to 100 applicants. And so being able to really differentiate yourself, whether it's through an email, a resume, following up, I think that was a big key. And just also, if you're listing references, realizing and putting two together of this, my future boss knows this person, and then using what you know to really showcase how you can make the job better, right? You want to, when you're applying for a job, you don't want them to think, oh, I'll just do the job, but that you'll do it better and make the organization and the department better. So I think it's just being creative, thinking outside of the box when it comes to your resume. I mean, there's so many different ones. Don't just use the Word document one necessarily, and I guess it depends on what your job is, right? I mean, for us, we're marketing and communications. We want excitement and fun. So I think there's ways, even little ways to do that and accomplish that.
I'm almost done. We're almost there. We're rounding third. We're heading home. Just a couple of questions. I'm never going to end on a negative, and this isn't a negative question looking for a negative response, more realistic. What is, it's like a two-part question. The first part is maybe the negative side, but what is just going to eliminate someone off the Jessie Butler candidate list if they come in and do blank?
Nothing. If they do nothing, I'm all about the go-getter, the person who says they're going to do something and can accomplish it. I totally understand if, issues arise and maybe, a deadline's missed. And I love open communication when it comes to stuff like that, but I just can't stand someone who just does nothing.
Fair enough. Do something, people. Do something. What would you have told your 10-year ago self, Jessie Butler, 10 years ago, from what you know now? What would you have said? Hey, Jessie, not that you talk to yourself in third person, but what tips, what guidance would you give your just about out of college self, knowing what you know now?
So
As it relates to a career search, obviously.
Yes, I'll clarify. So it was 10 years ago that I started college. So don't make me older than I am. Come on.
My bad.
But no, still good point. I would tell myself to really continue and maybe even try harder on making more of those relationships. I mean, like I said, I was very fortunate to learn early on the importance of alumni relations and just really reaching out to people. So I cannot hesitate enough to say get involved on campus with organizations that specifically align you with mentors and alumni, and I'm sure they have them at every college and university. So to me, what I would tell myself is keep doing what you were doing, because I still talk to all those alumni that I was reaching out to, still talk to my former managers and people I worked with at both University of Arizona, University of Tennessee. So I'm very grateful for all the experiences I had, and it's made me who I am today.
Excellent. Jessie Butler, I appreciate you taking the time. I always like to leave with this. If there's any personal blog, any company blog, any initiative that you want to share, a website you want to plug, please, this is a great opportunity. If you'd like to, if you don't, that's okay too, but want to make sure I offer.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to connect on LinkedIn, Jessie Butler. And if you're interested in coming to Tucson, please follow our social media. We care about flyers, and we're doing some really fun initiatives. I mean, you'll see every organization right now is figuring out what to do with COVID. So you have to learn how to adapt and communicate with your audiences. So.
And are you comfortable sharing the social media handles, or is that something you do not want to do? I just want to make sure I give you the chance.
Sure, yeah. So our social media for the Tucson Airport is Tucson Airport. And you can also look up Fly Tucson, and you also find some of our tags there as well.
Excellent. Jessie Butler, I appreciate you taking the time joining us. For those, as Jessie just mentioned, that just maybe don't have the access to a career services department at your local college or university that you're going, and you want to learn more about what we do here at Talk Shop, or what I do here at Talk Shop, the workshops, the private one-on-one coaching, everything as it relates to how you communicate who you are is a brand to get yourself career ready, please feel free to reach out. The website is right on your screen. And if I could be so gregarious, if you will, to ask, if you like this video and feel like there's some good content, please go ahead and share it. So again, Jessie Butler, thank you so much for taking the time and joining me right here.
Thank you.